Have you ever wanted to make cute presentations in Google Slides? Today is your lucky day. Hi, I'm Ryan, and today I'm going to show you 6 little different tricks I've picked up in Google Slides to make your presentations look really, really good. This is going to be our final product today. I'm not much of a designer, so I go onto Google Images and I search for little designs that I like, and I take bits and pieces from those presentations to make up mine. I'd still like to work on this some more, but it's pretty good for today. So I can show you how to make this and 6 different tips on making this presentation. First tip for today is adding different fonts to Google Slides. This one you probably already know about, but we're going to go through it anyway because why not? I recommend for teachers to pick 3 of your favorite fonts that are yours. A fun font, and right now in this document, my fun font is Pacifico. A sans serif font, which in this presentation it's Comfort, and a serif font, which is Laura. The difference between the two, serif fonts have these little things at the end of the lines that make up the font. Those little things are called serifs. So a sans serif font is one that does not have serifs, and a serif font is one that does have serifs. So when I said pick out 3 fonts that you like, we're going to add some more fonts to this, and maybe we'll change the fonts we use here. When you go to do the fonts, you can hit the down and there's a more fonts, which you've probably already figured out. You've probably already done this. We go to the more fonts. Underneath scripts, all scripts, leave it on all scripts. You're not going to want to change that. Show all fonts. Let's find our fun font, and those are usually in handwriting. By default, it does sort by popularity. All that means is your documents are going to look like everybody else's because you're all going to pick the same fonts. I like to just put it on alphabetical and scroll through until you find a font you like. You might want to jump down a little bit because most people even start clear down at the bottom because most people are not going to go down to the Z's anyway. I kind of like Walter Turncoat as one, but Walter Turncoat, if you notice, it has no lowercase. So depending on what age you're teaching, if you're teaching elementary, I would not pick that font because everything's going to be uppercase and you're going to confuse them. This Viber looks cool, but almost unreadable. Girl Next Door looks okay. So there's a ton of fonts. Sue Ellen Francisco, that's kind of fun. Shorts tag, I like that. We're going to switch to that one. So to add a font, I just click on it, and now I have it over here. I already had Ubuntu as one for some reason. I don't know. I edited it sometime. Now I have short stack. But there you can go up through them. Rock Salt's another popular one, so probably don't pick that one. Find one that you like, and I'm going to add that one because I kind of like that font. Find one that you like that is your own. So there's our fun font. Now we need a sans serif font, something we use for headers and things like that. So if we go to show handwriting, we can click on sans serif. And you notice none of these have serif. It's still on alphabetical. I'm going to scroll to the bottom. And now after you watch this video, everybody's going to scroll to the bottom and have fonts that start with Z and Y, but that's life. Just scroll to the middle and go from there. Or scroll through all of them. There's a ton of fonts, so good luck. I like this Varela round. I like this Varela. I like those. So the idea is to pick something that you like because it's going to be part of your brand. If you teach back to the elementary, pay attention to some of the letters, such as A, for your students, because if that's not the A you're teaching them how to write, then you probably don't want to use it in your presentations. We're going to pick this sulfur point because that one looks pretty good. And the last kind of font we need is a serif font. And there are tons of serif fonts. I really like Laura. Laura's right there. I really like Laura. It's already added by default. You can use a default. You can use a font that's in there by default if you want. Who am I to tell you what to do? I'm just some rando on the internet. Merriweather's another very popular font. It looks pretty good. Palatino's an old font and it looks good. We'll add that one right now. So now underneath the fonts, I have those fonts I just added. There's Palatino. Boy, there's a bunch of fonts that I don't remember adding, but apparently I did. Walter Turncoat, Sulphur Point, Short Stack. I'm going to change this font. Oh, we're going to grade this. Let's make a new blank slate. So that top is just a blue box. Is there a class? Now let's make that Sulphur Point. That a bold Sulphur Point. Make that a little bit bigger. Fold it and center it in the box. And then our box, I'm going to make the border color transparent, and there's a reason why you'll see later. And we're going to make the inside a lightish blue. Ooh, look at that. That Sulphur Point, it's okay. It's an okay font. First tip on using Google Slides is if you hold down the Shift key when you use the arrows, you can move things a little bit at a time. Oops. I'm holding down the Shift key. See how smooth I can move it? So I can put it pixel by pixel. We're going to make this box my information box for today. We'll put a rounded box down here. We're still on the first tip with the fonts, but as we go through this, I said 6 tips. There's going to be a few more little tips that I'm going to tell you about. First one, see that little yellow diamond? It changes the amount of curve in this box. So I'm going to cut that down a little bit. And then we'll make it yellow inside. The outside, we'll make it black, and we'll make it thicker. These 4 tools right here pertain to the drawing shapes underneath here. Fill, border, how thick the border is, and you can make the border different styles if you want. We'll leave that as dash because why not? Inside here, you notice by default, it throws your text at the bottom. You can align it to the top. Today's lesson's everything about monkeys. And we're going to make that our Sulphur Point. We're going to make it bold. And then we want to use do we want to use Laura or Palatino? We'll use Palatino. Today we are going to learn everything about monkeys. Yay! And let's just make that bigger. So our first tip today is pick some fonts that you like, a fun font, a sans serif font, and a serif font. Use the fun font for different graphics, use the sans serif font for different headers, and use the serif font for the text itself. It allows you to have a cohesive brand. So everything you make, we all like to use different fonts and we all like to add more and more fonts. But at the end of the day, all of your work starts looking like a ransom letter, and we want to have some consistency. So by selecting a font and sticking with that font for the most part, you'll have a better consistency. Your stuff will look more alike, and students will know, okay, this is stuff that my teacher has created, and it's important for me. So our first tip is adding fonts. Second tip is coloring fonts. So let's add our Monday in there. Monday. Okay. And that return that I accidentally put in there. Let's click the right letter for bold. Make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to center it in the box. Now another bonus tip. The little ball right here lets me rotate it. Woohoo! Still want that bigger. So there's our Monday, but Monday by itself is pretty bland. We can go in here and highlight each letter. And this lets you change the text color. I like starting on the left side here. Oh, and I forgot to change the font to my sulfur point. There we go. So you can change the text color on a letter by letter basis or the whole word if you want, just by selecting what you want to change and then clicking on text color. So our next is clip art with emojis. I've got the little party emoji right there as my clip art. You can, if you want, you can search the web for party clip art, but it seems to go faster by using the emojis. So I clicked the text tool, drew a text box, insert, I don't know where is it, special characters. Under this first drop down, I can say emoji, and there it gives me all the emojis that we have. So I can search for party, and there's our party emoji. We'll use this one because why not? And if I click on it, you'll see it was inserted. So I make this a lot bigger. And we got a nice little party emoji. He looks happy. Next, we're going to put a monkey over here. See our monkey? And we're going to mask it by a shape. This we will use. Search the computer, search the internets. Monkey. And there's my monkey. We're going to insert that bad boy. Oh, look at him. I'm just going to put him in the center here while we work on it. Two tools here to work with pictures. Crop image and mask image. I'll show you what the mask image does first because then we're going to have to go back and crop because you'll see. So mask image, I can mask that image on any of these shapes. So I can mask it rounded corners, box, and isn't that cool? It makes it rounded corners. I can mask it on the circle, which is what I want, but there's a little issue. The picture isn't a circle, so when it masks on the circle, it gives me this oval shape, which I don't think looks as good. That means we need to crop it as a square. Now I couldn't find a way to have the crop tools be a square, so I am going to click the crop tools and just eyeball a square because reasons. They don't have one. Once I'm done cropping, click it again, and now it's cropped as a square. So now if I mask it with a circle, it should still look like a circle. Resize him down, put him down here, make him a little smaller still, and there he is. So masking images by the shapes makes your pictures look they look better in the presentation rather than just as a big old square. Our next, we're going to add a little shadow. See this little shadow underneath the Monday? We're going to add a shadow to this. In the olden days, and this goes back when I used ClarisWorks and then AppWorks, you would duplicate the object, change the text to black or a grayish, and in this case I need to move it to the back so it's behind that Monday, and I use the shift here and I'm arranging it. So that's one way of doing this. That's one way of doing the shadow, and it looks good. But there's an easier and faster way. Let's get this out of here. Go away. There is a format options when you're on any of these objects. Even the graphics, there's a format options. When I pick it on a text box, oh look, lo and behold, there's a drop shadow. Click it, and you can see it added just slight drop shadow. And if I click on the greater than sign, I'm going to change the distance so you can see the drop shadow. So I'm going to extend out the distance and see the drop shadow there. So the distance is how far away is the drop shadow from the text. Angle is which direction you want the drop shadow to go. So if I want it up top, I can put it up top. If I want to put it to the right, actually I like it a little bit to the left. And down. There we go. And move it a little closer. In the blur, it's pretty defined right now. You can see at the edge, see that corner with the upper part of the Y? The blur, you can make it a softer shadow if you want. And that applies to everything. If I want to put a shadow on my party emoji, I can. Don't go overboard with the shadows, because if everything has a shadow, then it's not special anymore. But some things look a lot better, like our Monday here. It does look better with the shadow. Our final bit to create those little triangle things. I'm going to demonstrate it with this. Let's say I have 4 boxes and I want to put them one on top of each other on the left side. Now, before I would sit here and I'd drag them out how I'd want them, kind of try to put them where I want them apart, and then spend a little bit dragging these, trying to get them all in line. And yeah, it's a big pain. There's a faster way. Let me put all those back. Google has tools, Google Slides has tools that let you do it all automatically. So I'm going to say I want this red box to be up here, purple box to be down here, highlight everything. So I'm highlighting all 5 of those boxes. Now, under arrange, I can say align those to the left, and it shoves them all to the left, and then distribute them vertically. And boom, they're automatically equidistant between each other, and they're all aligned on the left. And the reason I was able to do that align on the left is because these boxes are all the exact same size. So I'll show you how to do that again. Put the first box where you want it, put the last box where you want it. Then I just drag around all of the boxes to select them. Align them to the left. And there's different alignments here, but we just want to align them to the left. And then distribute them vertically. And then finally, center on page vertically. And I did a good job of putting those so it didn't move. But it would automatically put those on the page vertically if it wasn't there. How does that work for our triangles? Well, I'm going to draw a triangle that I'm going to use for that. Grab hold of the circle thing so I can flip it all the way around 180. There's what it looks like. I'm not going to color it the same yet. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 triangles. So I need to duplicate this 6 times. Underneath edit, a lot of people tell you to do a copy paste and then paste, paste, paste. Underneath edit, there's a duplicate. On Windows, it's Control D. On Mac, it's Command D. You don't have to do the Control copy, Control V to paste. I can just select the item I want and say Control D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I put the first one where I want it. Put the last one where I want it. Now I'm going to hold down the Shift key so I can select these items. I can't draw a box around them because I'll get these other items. So I'm just going to hold down the Shift key and see if I can get them all. And you notice there's a faint bluish, so all of those are selected. So the first, I'm going to align them all by the tops. Oh, and I missed one. I shift clicked on that one. Align top. Okay, so now I have them all aligned by the top. Now I'm going to distribute them horizontally. There, they're all equidistant among each other. And then I'm going to center it on the page horizontally, and you notice it moved a little bit over to the left. Finally, I'm going to change the color to match my blue and turn off the border color. Voila. Let's do that one more time so you can see how I did it. Here's all of my triangles. Doesn't matter where they are. I'm going to select each one by holding down the Shift key. So I'm holding down the Shift and select each triangle. These two triangles here are the ones I want to put all of the other ones between these two. So these two, their placement's important. The rest of them, it's not that important. So holding down the Shift and clicking, I can click on each one of those. First, I'm going to align their tops so they'll all go straight across one line all together. Once I do that, I'm going to distribute them horizontally, which will put the same amount of distance between all of them. Now they're still all highlighted as one block. And that means I can center on page horizontally, and it moved a little bit, and now it's horizontal. While it's still selected, I'm going to change the color to match the color up there and turn off the border so it looks like it's part of up at the top. And voila, 6 tips with several bonus ones on making your Google Slides look good. That's it for this week. Do you have any Google Slides tips? Leave me a comment below. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Don't worry about the bell. You get enough notifications as it is. You don't need another one from me. And be sure to visit educate.me and sign up for my email list. Stay classy.